Okay, welcome to this focus points video. Right, so what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to aim these lights, and we'll want to aim them at the areas that we have chosen. So and to do that, we have to insert these things called focus points or targets. Right, so to get to the focus points tool, we have to go to our lighting tool palette, and it's our 1, 2, 3, our third option over. What's that one? Our third option over is the focus point tool. And if I click there, what it's going to want me to do is to define a focus point. And so I'm going to go ahead and say that I want my focus point right there. And it asks now for a name, right? And why don't we just go ahead and call it downstage left, just like what we've been doing. And just like it's labeled there, and then it asks for a focus height. And if you think about it, we're not focusing on the floor, we're actually focusing on a person who's standing there, and it assumes that somebody is, about 5 feet high, and so that's a pretty good assumption. I think we can go with our standard standard, the default focus height, and we say okay, and it puts this little focus point, and I'm using my focus point class that I made from the previous video. Now it's asking me for another one, and I'll just put it right there, and it auto assumes the next character, M, but it actually should be downstage center, and I'll say okay, and now I can put another one here, and again it's going to assume the next character, DSD, but I want to make that DSR, downstage right, and I'll say okay, and I'll just continue working my way up. I'm going to put it in the middle of this text box this time, and I'll call that's going to be mid-stage left, and I'll say okay, and we'll go here, see if I can get it in the middle of that text, and let's call it mid-stage center. And I'll say okay, and how about this one, and we'll just say mid stage right and say okay, and how about we go upstage here and we'll say upstage left, and I'll go up here and we'll say upstage center. And let's go here and let's say upstage right. Alright, so now I've inserted 9 focus points, and if I want, and I probably will, I'll go back and I'll get rid of that text that I had underneath of everything. But I can go back and clean that up here in a minute. Let's do a little fly around. Let's do a little fly around and see what we've got. Alright. And maybe we'll even do a little OpenGL, right? And if we are to look, you'll see that those focus points are actually hovering over the stage, right? If you can see them up here, you can see that one that's selected. The focus points are hovering over the stage at about 5 feet up. So now we want to focus a light. Let's go ahead and select our first light out here on this first pipe. Right? And if I look at it, it's front down left, and what we want to do is we want to focus that light, spotlight, focus instrument, and now I can click what focus point I want to assign it to, and I want to assign it to downstage left, and I'll say okay, and if you'll look, you'll see that my 3D symbol is now pointing at that area, and if I were to click on it and say on, I can see the beam of light that's being cast towards the stage. Right, now I'm just going to click on it, and I'm going to say off, and I'll select my next light, and I'll go to my spotlight menu, and I will say focus instrument, and that's going to be downstage center, which is my first one, and say okay, and look, magically my light has moved into focus. I can check that, turn light on, right? or I can click it and turn the light off. You can then go through and we can focus all of the lights to the corresponding places where they need to go in the drawing. And right, so our top light, our front light, our side light, all of them have a left, center, right, mid stage, downstage, upstage tag on them. That information can also be accessed in the object info browser, but it's way far down. Vertical, there it is. If you scroll way down, it has focus and it has that tag. And if you're doing it here, you actually have to type in the right thing. It doesn't give you a pull-down menu of them. So I suggest doing it through the Spotlight tool. But if you ever wanted to reference what a fixture, where it is focused or what its focus point is, you can scroll way down deep in the object info of a fixture and find it there. So I'll go ahead and pause here.